Hi VC. There's a guy in the vinyl community called Vinyl Martini, and apart from having a really good channel, he shows some great records. He's always leaving comments on my videos, which I really appreciate. Um, Seems like a nice guy, and he's got a competition entry at the moment. It's been running for 2 or 3 weeks, I think, and I'm probably only just going to get my entry in time. And he wants people to show 5 records by musicians who have put out solo albums while they're still a member of another group. Not solo albums by people who leave groups, but ones that are released during their tenure in a band. So I've got 5 to show you. Slightly different, this competition, because there's no prize, or at least there is a prize, one to make you feel better about yourself, because Vinyl Martini is going to donate $100 to his local food bank as the prize, which I think is a great idea, particularly at this time of year. So, fair play to him. Really good idea, and more than happy to take part in this competition. So here we go. 5 LPs, solo LPs by guys and women who are still in other bands, or were in other bands at the time of release. You know what I mean. So first up, and the timing's probably good on this one, it's Christine McVie and her self-titled, I believe, yes, self-titled album from 1980, blah blah blah. When did this come out? It's the 80s, 84. And there you go. If proof was needed that she was still a member of Fleetwood Mac, it says it right there. And this is a really enjoyable album. It's not going to rock your world entirely, because it's a fairly sort of safe album, but then wouldn't you just expect that from a member of Fleetwood Mac? What it is a really grown-up album. It's smooth, it's polished, beautifully played. If you're a fan of Rumour's era Fleetwood Mac, and you like Toto and Steely Dan, you really can't go very far wrong with this one. Some great music on here. Lindsey Buckingham guests on guitar, and on the track, what is it? Where is it? I can't read my own writing here. Oh, The Smile I Live For, final track. He puts in a killer solo on that one. So, well worth checking out. And rest in peace, Christine McVie. She'll be much missed. And next up, Richard Wright and his solo album, Wet Dreams, from 1978. So, yep, he is certainly still a member of Pink Floyd. The year before The Wall was released. And this is another fantastic album. Wet Dream sounds like a slightly smutty title, but it's not. As you can see, or might be able to see from the Hypnosis artwork, there's a bit of a nautical theme going on here. There's a yacht on the front, steps down into a swimming pool on the back, and a number of the songs have sort of nautical themes on them. Mediterranean Sea, Cat Cruise, Summer Elegy, Waves, and so on. And this is a superb album. I've really enjoyed rediscovering this in the last couple of weeks. There's a ton of saxophone on here. Snowy White plays guitar, and he's superb, as you'd expect. Some of it's instrumental. Where it's not instrumental, Rick Wright sings, and his voice is scarily similar to David Gilmour's in places, actually. Don't sleep on this one if you see it anywhere. Probably one of the better Pink Floyd solo albums. No, actually, how can I say that? I mean, Gilmour and Roger Waters done some brilliant stuff, but this is a great album. And there's one track on here, Cat Cruise, which is an instrumental, which sounds really like some of the stuff Air were doing on their Virgin Suicides soundtrack. So if that floats your boat, you should pick this up. Another really good album, great solo album. Then third up, we've got Eric Stewart's Fruity Rooties. And let's get that sleeve off so you can see it there. Nice artwork. This one's a promo copy. And of course, Eric Stewart was a member of 10cc at the time that he released this album. And as you might expect, this sounds quite a lot like sort of latter day 10cc, you know, the kind of post-Godly and Cream era. It's it's really not too dissimilar to 10cc. The production is superb, again, as you'd expect. It's not quite as tricksy and out there as some 10cc releases were, but it's got all those sort of 10cc hallmarks, you know, kind of pastiches of 50s rock and roll and a touch of rockabilly here and there, but put through that sort of 10cc filter, which makes everything sound like 10cc, not like the influences that they're using on the record. So definitely one to pick up if you're into 10cc. It's a really great album. I love that album artwork. And another one with a Hypnosis sleeve, and it's Nip in the Bud by Herman Rarebell, who, if you're not familiar with him, was the drummer in Scorpions for many years. No longer with them. I think he plays with the Michael Schenker group now. And this is a great album. It consists of songs that Herman had written with a friend of his called George Phillips, which he didn't consider suitable for Scorpions sound at the time, which baffles me a bit because more than anything, it just sounds like a late 70s Scorpions album with a twist. It's sleazy, sort of trashy hard rock with a Led Zepp groove, very heavy drums, some Zepp type riffing. So perhaps a slightly sort of new wave edge to some of the tracks. And I know this album was a big influence on the early Motley Crue. They used to play the track Two Timer live, I think before they got a record deal. And it really does sound like Motley Crue. Back then, Crue were, I think, a more credible hard rock band, and the image was a big part of what they were, but the songs were just good heavy metal at the time. The vocalist on here, like I say, was a friend of Herman Rarebell's. In fact, he's an old school friend of his, and he goes by the name of George Phillips on here, but his real name is Pedro Schaum. And he and Herman write all the material on here, do a great job of it. Vocally, he sounds very similar to Klaus Meine from Scorpions, with a bit of Udo Dirk Schneider from Accept thrown in. Sounds a bit like Vince Neil, on the rare occasions when Vince Neil sings well. And to be honest, I'm reminded a little bit of, what's his name? Bobcat Goldthwait. That guy is sort of a bit unhinged who was in the Police Academy movies. The voice sounds a bit like his voice. So I love this album, and it's fantastic. Like I say, big influence on the Crue. They covered Two Timer when they first started out, and I can see why, because that is one of the standout tracks on here. I absolutely love it. There's the odd drum solo in here. It certainly doesn't outstay its welcome, and it's part of the song, so it's not too much of a departure from what's going on elsewhere. Like I say, plenty of Led Zepp style riffing. I think that's probably the biggest influence on here, on the overall sound, the drums and the guitar. There's the odd ballad, and the track I'll Say Goodbye sounds exactly like the sort of big, punchy, heavy rock ballads that bands like Rat and Cinderella were having played constantly on MTV towards the end of the decade. So Herman Rarebell kind of anticipated that sound a bit on this album. So really, definitely one worth checking out. And finally, one that's seasonally appropriate. I've found a Christmas album which fits the bill by one of my favourite artists, and it's Rob Halford from Judas Priest. It's his second kind of Christmas album, I guess. This, I think, is the better of the two. This came out in 2019. Celestial, and the hype sticker tells you that it features holiday classics like Hark the Herald Angels Sing and Donna and Blitzen. And it's a fantastic album. I mean, you have to have your tongue firmly in your cheek while listening to it, and I'm sure that's where Rob's tongue was when he was making it, because it's a mixture of quite traditional sounding carols, which are sung fairly straight. You know, Rob's sort of childhood time spent as a choir boy is put to good use here, but also tracks like Donna and Blitzen are just a full heavy metal assault. There's some really heavy hard rock on here, and then tracks like the first Noel is just sung so straight and so beautifully, and then you get a track like Heart the Herald Angels Sing, which sounds like a drunken football crowd is singing it. It's a real mob vocal. It's great fun, and as it says here, it's Rob Halford with family and friends, and his brother, whose name I think is Nigel. Yes, Nigel Halford plays drums on the album, and his sister Sue plays the jingle bells. So it's nice it's drafted in family to make the albums, and it's a whole lot of fun. It really is. The Metal God Does Christmas. So there you go. That's my entry for Vinyl Martini's competition. Good on you, Vinyl Martini, for donating your money to the food bank. Don't care if I win this one. Just really good to know that some people get fed over Christmas who might otherwise struggle. I'll be back with another video soon. Take care. Bye for now.